Today, we're going to talk about something you may have heard of, but maybe don't know the specifics about. It's a rare but incredibly serious event in sports called Commotio Cordis. So, what exactly is it? And, more importantly, what can we actually do about it? Let's get into it.
I want to start with this quote from Dr. Mark Link because it just cuts right through everything. Had a defibrillator been on the field, he would be alive. It perfectly sets the stakes for what we're talking about today. We're talking life and death, where survival can literally come down to a single piece of equipment.
Okay, so imagine this. You're watching a game, and a perfectly healthy young athlete, right in the middle of a play, just collapses. No obvious reason. It's a terrifying moment, and the first step for everyone is to understand what in the world is happening.
For millions of people, this stopped being a theoretical thing and became very, very real when we all saw what happened to Damar Hamlin. That incident really put Commotio Cordis on the map for the general public, and it taught us all a huge lesson. When an athlete collapses and is unresponsive, you have to assume it's cardiac arrest, period.
So what is it technically? Well, Commotio Cordis is triggered by a sudden, blunt hit right to the chest. And this is the key thing. It's not about the force of the blow, breaking a rib, or bruising the heart muscle. It's all about the timing. The timing of that impact messes with the heart's electrical rhythm, and that's what causes sudden cardiac arrest.
And here's what you need to look for. You see this a lot in sports with hard, fast projectiles, baseballs, lacrosse balls, hockey pucks. But here's a really crucial detail. The collapse isn't always instant. The athlete might stumble for a few seconds first, and then when they go down, they're unresponsive. Their eyes might be open, they might even have movements that look like a seizure.
So you're probably asking, how can one single impact that might not even look that bad be so catastrophic? Well, it all comes down to a tiny, tiny split second of vulnerability in the heart's natural rhythm.
This is the wild part. The whole thing hinges on just almost impossible timing. A baseball, a puck, a shoulder pad, whatever. It has to hit the chest at one single precise moment in the heart's electrical cycle. Not a millisecond sooner, not a millisecond later.
And that moment? It has a name. It's called the upstroke of the T-wave. Basically, this is the exact point when the heart's main pumping chambers have just squeezed and are starting to relax and reset for the next beat. It's an electrically unstable moment.
And look at this. This shows you just how unbelievably unlucky this event is. That vulnerable window, the upstroke of the T-wave, it only lasts for 10 to 20 milliseconds. That's a tiny fraction of a second. An impact at any other time during the heartbeat would probably just sting. But in that window, it's catastrophic.
So what happens when that unlucky hit lands? Well, it sends the heart's electrical system into total chaos. It's a condition called ventricular fibrillation. And instead of a strong, regular pump, the heart muscle just quivers. It flutters uselessly. And that's it. No blood is being pumped. That is a cardiac arrest.
All right, so once the heart is in that chaotic state, the clock starts ticking loudly. This isn't a wait for the ambulance situation. It is an absolute, flat-out race against time.
Just look at this number. For every single minute that goes by without someone starting CPR and using an AED, the chance of survival drops by 10%. Think about that. After just 5 or 6 minutes, the odds are already terrible. This is why acting immediately is everything.
And if that number didn't make it clear, this chart sure does. The difference is just staggering. If you get an AED on that person in under 3 minutes, their chance of survival is over 80%. But you wait 10 minutes, it plummets to less than 10%. That huge gap between life and death is measured in seconds.
Okay, so the stakes are incredibly high. The clock is ticking. What can possibly turn this story around? Well, it's time to meet the hero of this situation.
It really is this simple. Survival depends almost entirely on one thing: an automated external defibrillator, or AED. Now, CPR is vital. Absolutely. It keeps blood moving to the brain. But only an AED can deliver the shock that resets the heart and brings it out of that chaos.
This slide just lays it out perfectly. On the left, you've got the problem, a heart that's getting chaotic signals, just quivering away. And on the right, the solution. The AED delivers one controlled electrical shock that's basically like hitting the reset button on a computer, allowing the heart's own natural pacemaker to take back control.
So, we understand the problem.
and we understand the solution, now comes the most important part, turning all of this awareness into actual preparedness, because knowing what to do is what saves lives.
This is the playbook. It's called The Chain of Survival, and it's 4 simple but crucial steps. 1. Recognize what's happening. 2. Immediately, and I mean immediately, call for help. 3. Start hands-on CPR. Push hard and fast. And 4. Get an AED and use it as fast as you possibly can.
And who needs to be ready to do this? Everyone. Coaches, officials, parents, even the other athletes on the field. Anyone who is at a game, a practice, a scrimmage, you could be the first link in that life-saving chain.
But here's the bottom line. Training people is vital, but it's only half the battle. The other half is access. Having AEDs available and knowing where they are at every single sports field, every arena, every school gym. That is what truly changes the outcome.
And that brings us to the final and honestly the most important question. I want you to think about where your kids play, or where you play, or where you go to watch games. Do you know if there's an AED nearby? Is your field, your court, your rink, is it ready for a race against time?